Hi, everybody. Joe Cioffi here. Weather in 5 days in 5 minutes. Brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York. They're getting ready for spring. Got mulch, topsoil, sand. You get another winter storm. March goes away. Still got salt. 631-756-1125. Nowhere can you find better prices. And the website is omnitruevalue.com. So the latest storm system is now spreading its way into the Northeast, and we'll take a look at that. And we'll start with the watches and warnings map. We've got winter weather advisories across the northern half of Pennsylvania, southern New York, and then they turn to winter storm warnings as you move up north and northeast. North of Albany, just about everybody's under a winter storm warning. A couple of advisories that come down the Hudson Valley to about Route 82, north of Route 84. Also in Connecticut, we have winter weather advisories north of Route 84. Winter storm warnings back up in Massachusetts, except where we have advisories up around the Boston area and closer to the coast. Warnings in Vermont, New Hampshire, and into Maine. Elsewhere, we have winter storm watches in North Dakota and northern South Dakota. And we have a slew of winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories as the next round of heavy snow goes on in the Sierra Nevadas and up the coastal ranges from California northward to Washington State. We are seeing a pretty impressive satellite signature. There was a ton of severe weather that moved through the southeast today and continues to move through parts of the southeast this evening. You can see the lightning strikes in central North Carolina and western South Carolina. They're kind of tailing off a bit now in Georgia. And precipitation, the brighter white enhanced clouds are racing to the northeast. And while we've had precipitation aloft for the better part of the last 3 or 4 hours, very little of that was reaching the ground in New Jersey and in the Hudson Valley and over into Connecticut and Massachusetts. That's about to change because if you look at the radar as of 7:45 p.m. Eastern Time, we've got some heavy echoes now showing up in Pennsylvania and also moving further south in southern Pennsylvania and into Virginia. That is all headed in over the next few hours, so we'll see weather conditions begin to deteriorate. We should mention, by the way, wind advisories are up for many of the coastal counties in New Jersey to Long Island and into southeastern New England for wind gusts possibly as high as 50 miles an hour. I think the best chances for those strong winds will be east of New York City or along the immediate coast. And also we have coastal flood warnings that are up for both shores of Long Island and in and around New York Harbor and parts of the New Jersey shore as well. As far as snowfall is concerned, excuse me, WPC, we're going to see if we can get an update here. And yeah, we got a new one, so we'll use the latest, of course. And this is the probability of at least 2 inches. And WPC's been gradually pushing that 2-inch line, that 80% probability for at least 2, further east to just to the west of Boston. And 50% goes a little bit further to the south into northern Rhode Island, northern Connecticut, and in the Hudson Valley up north of Route 84, then back up into the Catskills. And when we look at the probability of at least 4, you'll see that the 50% line edges a bit further north than that. It actually goes right along southern Massachusetts, and then you get into the 80, 90, 95 to 100% probability that you have most of the areas that are in that 80% or higher area are under winter storm warnings at the moment. And in terms of specifics, as far as snow amounts are concerned, these are the updated numbers from the Weather Service on their digital weather map. Any place in the light blue is basically a coating to at most an inch. We start to get to some higher amounts in northwest Connecticut and across northern Connecticut, 2 to 3 inches or so. Then you get into the 4, 5, 6-inch amounts. And then, of course, you've got these pockets of 10 and 11 inches showing up in western Massachusetts, also in eastern Massachusetts, north of Worcester, going into Vermont and New Hampshire. And then in upstate New York, they're giving Albany 6. Albany's under a winter weather advisory. They're just below winter storm warning criteria. But north of I-90 going up into the Adirondacks, there's a pretty good chance that you're going to see 1 foot plus snows there. So overall, it's the I-90 corridor that is dealing with all of this across New York State, from Syracuse getting 4, Albany to 6. You move into Massachusetts, Springfield 4, Worcester about 7, and then the amounts tail off with only 2 inches being forecast around the Boston area. So let's jump to the models here, and I'm going to use the HRRR model because this is actually one of the warmer model views, and I've been kind of leaning with more in this direction. I think the GFS is just too robust. It's been showing double-digit snow amounts over a large area, and that right now, especially because a lot of this lead precip is drying out and not reaching the ground, it seems to me that that has less of a chance of happening. So you're looking at 9 p.m. Eastern time, and you see the light snows there, the darker blues that are extending back into Michigan and into Indiana and across into western New York. And then around 9 or 10 o'clock, you'll begin to see the precip really start to get going. Purple is sleet. So there are some areas in northern New Jersey, northeastern PA, and into Connecticut that'll get into some sleet. Then the snow increases. And then again, we start to see that warmer air come up. Low pressure, a very wrapped up low. When I say wrapped up, I mean it's fairly intense in northeast Ohio, is going to give way to a secondary low that's going to form right near the south shore of Long Island tomorrow morning. And you see it pop up there at 6 in the morning. Ahead of that, some heavy rains that will move through southeast Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Long Island, Connecticut, let's say south of Route 15, and then into southeastern New England out on the Cape. And then, of course, the sleet line seems to make its way pretty far up into Massachusetts. If that happens, I think that's going to hold snow amounts down. So we're going to have to watch the observations and the radars very closely during the overnight. And then after that, once this gets out of the way, weather conditions should start to improve as we go through the day tomorrow and beyond. I think Sunday is going to be the better of the 2 weekend days. Here's your low near just east of Block Island tomorrow afternoon. Still snowing up in New England. It all comes to an end by late evening. Everywhere else should see improvement much sooner than that. And Sunday looks like a nice day with sunshine, temperatures in the 40s as a week high builds down from southeastern Canada. Then we have this week low that is coming out of New Mexico and heading up into Iowa and the Great Lakes. But because we have a bit of a blocky pattern, that low is going to start to move more to the southeast come Monday night and Tuesday. And that could bring a period of snow or maybe rain for Monday night, late Monday night into Tuesday morning. There's not room for this system to develop because today's storm is going to be intensifying near Newfoundland and just sitting there. And then after that goes by, we're going to get into some colder air for the second half of the week. We don't see any other storms threatening once we get through that little system that comes in Monday night and on Tuesday. Weather in 5 is brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York. 631-756-1125 is the phone number. The website, omnitruevalue.com. The Joe and Joe Weather Show will be back Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We hope to see you then. Have a great weekend.